All right, here we go. Welcome to this edition of the Baseball Forward podcast, a movement committed to passing the beautiful game of baseball on to the next generation of ball players and coaches. I'm your host, Ross Hawley, and I want to thank you for spending some time with us wherever you might be watching or listening from. If this is your first time with us, welcome. For exclusive video clips and outtakes of this and all the other episodes of the Baseball Forward podcast, go give us a follow on social media at BaseballFWD or at RossHawley39. And for more information on joining the Baseball Forward movement, visit us on the World Wide Web at baseballforward.com. This episode of the Baseball Forward podcast is brought to you by Southpaw Hat Co. Don't let the name fool you. Southpaw hats are designed for everyone, not just you funky lefties out there. Check out their latest and greatest at southpawhatco.com and enter BallFWD at checkout for 10% off your entire order. Today's guest conversation features the 2024 Western Athletic Conference pitcher and freshman of the year, Mr. Brett Lanman of Abilene Christian University. Here's episode 32 of the Baseball Forward podcast. Brett Lanman. What's up, Brett? How are you, man?
I'm doing good.
I'm so happy to see you, and I know this time of year for you, man. For those of you listening to the Baseball Forward podcast today, Brett Lanman is a sophomore at Abilene Christian. Brett, what does that make you these days? What age? What age are you now?
I am 19.
19 years old. He's a 19-year-old sophomore at Abilene Christian. And you guys remember, if you went to college, most of you, I'm hoping, did. When you went to, you're at break. You're on Christmas break right now. So, How does it feel to be on Christmas break?
Oh, it's refreshing. It's get this first semester over with of the year and get a nice 3-week break right now before, obviously, a very impactful and time-consuming spring. So
yes, sir.
It's good.
Yes, and hey, I'm curious. I know whenever I would go home as a former player on break, we had a pretty strict regiment that we had to like work out and all that stuff. So, do you guys have any tests when you get back from onto campus in January? Do you have any tests that they're going to put you through physically to make sure you're a good boy?
Oh yeah. It's they like to do a first day back 300-yard shuttle. So you got that to look forward to. I mean, it is what it is. You just get through it. But I mean, hey, if you're training, you should be fine. But it's more just to stick out the people that were lazy.
Yes, the guys that went home and didn't do anything. I got a feeling that doesn't happen much at Abilene Christian.
Oh no.
Talking with Brett Lanman on the Baseball Forward podcast. Brett, you and I go back to, man, I think it was your junior year when we met, and I just want to say this: if you're out there, the young guys that are going to watch or listen to this, man, you got such a cool story, and I want to kind of dig into it because. Man, you were a special high school player, but I think, well, I'd be curious to hear what you have to say about your whole experience as coming up through high school. But I know for me, when I saw you, I was like, this is a no-brainer. This is what it looks like, guys. He's 6'5", 236, and he played football in high school at Lovejoy. Shout out to the Leopards. But he started to focus on baseball really after his senior year that fall. And this dude went from an offensive lineman, defensive lineman, shredded Adonis goddess right now. Looks fantastic. So, Brett, I want to start right there, dude. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing right now and where you're at. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I mean, obviously, like you mentioned, I'm a sophomore at Abilene Christian. I'm a left-handed pitcher, so shout out to all the southpaws out in here.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of us, but we got to represent.
That's right.
I mean, it's coming from high school. I was a late recruit to Abilene Christian, so just to be on campus and all the achievements that I got, it was just a blessing. It's not really what I expected coming out, but I mean, it's surreal. I can't imagine anything else. It's just surreal.
Let me ask you this: you go year one? It had to be like a whirlwind for you, because this is how I will describe it. I'm trying to paint a picture. If whoever is listening to this, facing this guy it's extremely uncomfortable. Okay. He has a heavy fastball, like trying to hit a bowling ball up there, but he's so big, 6'5". So as a freshman, like, did you realize hey, when I throw strikes or when I attack, I got a pretty good chance to get even these guys out.
I mean, yeah, I always knew that my fastball, it's my carrying trait. It's my best pitch. Will probably always be my best pitch. In high school, if we kept stats in high school, I probably was 95% fastball. And
Wow.
then getting into college that first freshman fall, I was like, well, maybe I need to figure something out. Maybe I need to try a curveball, throw more curveballs. And I was talking to all the coaching staff up there at Abilene Christian, and they're like, no, just attack them with a fastball. Like, do not give the hitters credit. Just because it's D1 baseball doesn't mean they're a different
Oh,
hitter. It's
yeah.
still, you still fail 7 out of 10 times on a baseball hitting. So I kind of took that to heart and just attacked him with a fastball. And I mean, it just played out from there.
What's the most, because man, that's true to the game. And shout out
Mhm.
to the coaches that don't tinker and tinker and tinker and let the kid.
Yep.
Hey, you don't you guys you recruit the talent. Let the
Yes.
talent be the talent. So your fastball, you
Mhm.
attack with your fastball. How important to the young pitchers out there? But how important is fastball command to you?
To me, especially, it's very important. Last year, I was 70% fastball. So
Dang.
if I can't command that, it's a very not good tool. It's like my carrying tool would then become not my carrying tool. And
Yep.
obviously, with having such a heavy fastball, that obviously makes me vulnerable to slug. So a lot of home runs and stuff. So if I do not locate it where I want it or in the area I want it, and I miss a little bit over the middle, a little bit down, somewhere in there, that ball, you're not going to see it. So just being able to command it and kind of get it in the general location doesn't got to be perfect. It's not 100% pinpoint accuracy, but
Mhm.
it's more of you have to know where to miss, when to miss, and know where to stay away from most hitters.
I hear talking with Brett Lanman of Abilene Christian today here on the Baseball Forward podcast. Big lefty guys. Boy, he's got a bright future. You, the young guys that we talk about playing catch all the time and playing good
Mhm.
catch and the fastball command. That's where playing good catch comes in. So I'm curious for you when you're out playing catch what is how important is playing catch? How important is having that feel to just be able to put it where you want when you're playing catch? Talk to me a little bit about that.
I mean, it's very important. The coaches at Abilene Christian, they preach, practice how you play, obviously. And whenever you're in season, if you are a starter, I mean, you're only going to throw off the mound 1 or 2 times a week. So that other throwing time, that's all in catch play. And
Wow.
if you're over there lackadaisical, just lobbing the ball, not trying to command it, not feeling the pitch, not doing whatever, you're wasting 5 out of 7 days of the week. And then when
Wow.
you get off the mound, you're gonna be like that one start where I don't have the feel, I can't command it, I'm missing over the middle, all this stuff. And well, it trickles back down to your catch play. And for me, especially, I mean, we are big on TrackMan metrics and all this stuff. So my fastball has very big IVB, induced vertical break, which means it basically rises if there was no gravity.
Wow.
So the hitter looks like it's rising. So for me during catch play, I try to stay kind of chest and hat level so that whenever I get off the mound, I can live up in the zone, that was my main like strikeout zone last year on my fastball it was up. So I would like to command my fastball up a lot more. So whenever I'm in catch play, especially, I like to try to stay with my fastball command around the chest and hat area. And obviously, it's different for other pitchers. Like if you're not a big spin guy, throw sinkers, you might want to be around the belt. But I think just knowing your identity as a pitcher and knowing where you want to command your fastball, I think that will help you in catch play a lot more because then you can focus on where you want to throw it and then your command will get better from there.
Oh, dude, I love it. I feel like I'm talking to like a major league pitching coach already. And it's so fun to listen to because Brett, I mean, the transition you make from high school to college, you talk about TrackMan
Mhm.
being big with like the data,
Yes.
the analytics, whatever you want to call it. So I'm interested the role, like Did had you ever been around TrackMan? And then when you got to Abilene Christian, you're like, whoa, here's this data. And talk to me about how you use that as part of just your routine to grow.
I mean, yeah, it's a thing that has always been around for me, but it's not really, I just kind of, we always have the Rhapsodo and all that stuff. And it's like, okay, velo, spin efficiency, IVB, horizontal, all this stuff. It's just numbers really. But then when I got to Abilene Christian, they sat us down and they gave us TrackMan reports for every bullpen, every outing we have. And they're like, here's what it means. Here's what this means. Here's what this number means. This is what it means. You have a dead zone fastball. Your fastball sinks more than it runs. It rides. It has really good spin. So it's very deceptive, all this stuff. And then, I mean, yeah, like I was saying earlier, it's just the identity of a pitcher. Once you have all this data, you can kind of move into a role of a pitcher of what you want to be based on the way your metrics play. And then the way your metrics play, it kind of becomes more deceptive to hitters, and you can start sequencing better to the hitters and get better hitters out.
I got you. That's just so fascinating to me, man, because I feel like an old man. I am an old man. Hey, I turn 45 tomorrow, but like that wasn't around when I played. So I'm so fascinated to hear the younger guys saying, "Hey, yes, the throwing and the feeling and all that old school stuff is still so important, but when you incorporate the statistics or the analytics or that stuff into it, what you said is brilliant, dude. The identity of a pitcher. So I want to say that I want to know this. How quickly in high school did you know what your identity was, or did it take kind of getting to Abilene Christian to understand who you are and how you project?
I think I really figured out my identity my senior year of high school.
Okay.
I changed some mechanics. I just tweaked some things. And like I said, if there were stats in high school, I'd probably be 95% fastball. And I quickly realized, I was like, I don't know what's going on, but these guys just can't hit my fastball. So I'm going to keep throwing it. So I think that was when I truly found my identity. But then when I got on campus at Abilene Christian and started breaking down all these metrics, and I realized why that was my identity, and then I progressed in that identity, and I could take on that role and then keep going and build off of that, and then just keep my fastball and then build other pitches that make my fastball better. And I think that really, really helped really built once I got on campus. But I feel like I kind of had an idea my senior year of high school.
Man, that's awesome. Talking to Brett Lanman of Abilene Christian here on the Baseball Forward podcast today. Brett, it's you're going into your sophomore season, yes. And I'll call it what it is, man. I can't imagine having a better freshman year. I mean, wow, he was the WAC pitcher of the year, Western Athletic Conference WAC pitcher of the year. He was the WAC freshman of the year, and then he's a second team freshman All-American. I mean, wow. And I know you don't get caught up. You're a humble dude. But does that add pressure? Like what is that when you're going into your sophomore year, you're the target now. You're like, people are like, who is this dude? And we know who he is now. So what does that mean for you? How does that play as you go into your spring semester here in a month or two?
Yeah, I mean, it's more of a mindset thing. I feel like it's like coming in my freshman year, I'm a new guy, blank face. No one knows who I am. So I come out really hot like I did, fortunately, and people started to take recognition. They're like, okay, who is this guy? And now that I finished a full year, they have all the stats on me. They have my weaknesses, strengths, all that stuff. So I would assume that people would break down those statistics and try to nitpick my strengths and weaknesses. But I feel like as a player, I just need to not get into the lull of being, oh, I'm a freshman All-American. I'm blah, 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 all this and this. And I just need to put my head down and grind. And I feel like no matter what I do, or no matter what they do to prepare for me, I'm still going to be better if I just put my head down and grind.
I'm curious, just because of knowing you, what was it like
Mm.
leaving football? Because you love playing football and you were really
Oh
good
yeah.
at it. He had offers to go play Division II schools. Um, what was that like making that transition out of football? Was that game changing for you?
It definitely was. I mean, my junior year of high school, I got hurt. I strained my UCL, and I sat down with my parents and sat down with just myself, and I was like, what do I want to do in the future? And I knew football wasn't the answer.
Mm,
And I was like, I want to play Division I baseball is my dream. And so I made some goals, and I was like, I'm gonna finish my senior year of football because I've already played 3 years and I love football. I'm not gonna quit on my team. I'm not gonna do all this. So I'm gonna finish that. But after football is over, I'm gonna make a strict change. I'm gonna change kind of my ways and I'm gonna go full baseball mode. And I'm gonna
mm.
try to put myself in the best position I can to achieve my dreams of playing Division I baseball.
It was a plan. It was intentional, and
It
that
was.
shows, gosh, to the young players out there listening to this, wanting to get nuggets from this guy, just listen and pay attention because, Brett, it amazes me. You're always so focused. You're it's like a structure. There's a discipline, a routine, and it
Mhm.
shows in the results. So I want you to explain, in your life, your day-to-day life, in your
Yes.
habits, how important is routine for you?
It's everything. I mean, if you don't have a routine, you're just going through the motions. If there's not a true goal to everything you do, then
Mm,
what's the point of doing it? And I mean, I myself, I might have a plan, but I'm not gonna be 100% focused every day. That's where teammates and coaches and all your
wow.
friends come around, and they come together and they lift you up and they keep you on track, keep you on your path to stay focused to your goals. Because obviously, as a team, we all have goals too. And if one person slacks off, we're not going to reach our goal. So having routines is the biggest part of life, and that might be on the field or it might be off the field. But I mean, you have to set routines, and you have to be disciplined enough to stick with the routines no matter what you feel like.
I'd be curious talking with Brett Lanman here, adjusting to college life. So
Mhm.
you go from, you from Lovejoy, your senior year, you go to Abilene Christian. That's a big adjustment, dude. And I say
Is
adjustment is, man, being going to a Division I school as a freshman. What were some of the biggest adjustments that you had to make?
routines.
Yeah.
That's really all it is. I mean, I had routines in high school and I knew what to do for 4 years of high school and then just completely wipe it away. I'm living on my own now. I have to provide my own food. I have to do all these things. I have to go to school and maintain a good grades. I got to go to baseball and try to prove myself to get on the field as a freshman. And I just had to completely wipe everything I knew
Wow.
and just slowly build up routines. And it really I was talking to the coaches at my end of the fall meeting this year, and just they were saying they noticed the routines that I set probably started to show last spring, but they're definitely starting to show right now. And I just looking back at that, it was kind of the fall getting in there. It's just overwhelming.
Mm,
You come in, you start the fall, you do all these Omaha challenges, and you have to get good grades and all these things, and you're just like, what is going on? And you want to prove yourself on the field because you want to play, and it's just super overwhelming. But then I feel like you just get settled in. It's that first fall is kind of just hectic. And then
yeah.
you take winter break, you take Thanksgiving break, and you're just like settling down. You establish these routines, and hopefully you kept to them. And then in the spring, it's just you follow the routines, you get it down. And then after that, you're like, well, here's what I did. Is it good? Here's what I did. Is it bad? And then you learn off it because you have the experience of a year and you get to build off of what you did good and you get to build off what you did bad.
I love it, man. And it is such an adjustment. And um I want to bring this up because you have that awesome shirt on right now. If you watch it on YouTube, you'll see it, but it's a purple and white, but it says Jesus won. Okay. Jesus won. And I want to know for you what role your savior, what role
Mm.
Jesus plays in your day-to-day life, in your baseball career, in your academic career, just in your personal life. What role does he play?
I mean, he's everything. It's like the shirt. I mean, Jesus won. I don't think I'd be at Abilene Christian if that wasn't the truth. I feel like that's the right place for me to be, to grow my baseball career, to grow my academic career, but to grow my spiritual career as well. We
Wow.
have to, I mean, we have to do mandatory chapels at Abilene Christian. So it's already, it's stirring the pot already to learn about Jesus if you haven't. And if not, it's to build that faith up. But also, as a baseball team, we do a thing called Foundations, which is a weekly kind of chapel that's led by our coaches. And
Wow.
just to build our team's faith in Jesus, because like I said, he is everything. And we owe it all to him. All the success we have on and off the field, it's all because of him.
Man, I love hearing that because I'll say this, Brett, and maybe I've told you this before, but um, what looking back at my career, that's one thing that I wish, for whatever reason, I was talking with CJ Beatty about this the
Mhm.
other day, and for whatever reason, I kept God out of my baseball career. I don't know
Yeah.
why. Like I didn't rely on him, and he wants to know our heart. He wants to be in control of everything for us, and
Mhm.
for whatever reason, I didn't think that it was like appropriate. So how appropriate is it to let God into your life as a baseball player?
I mean, it's everything. It's not easy to do though. It's baseball is it can be a very selfish game,
Mm,
but just the idea of the idea of controlling what you can control. You can't control everything. He is fully in control. And if you let him take control, you will be better off. You might not be better off on the field and statistic wise, but
mm.
you will definitely feel better in your heart and you'll definitely be a better teammate.
I love that, man. And I'm proud of you for that. Seriously, like the fact that you're wise beyond your years. Let's just say that. Um, I want to know this. From where you stand right now,
Mhm.
what's the toughest part of playing college baseball?
I think it's like I said earlier, it's just adjusting from high school to college. It's something you've never done before. It's literally just a new phase of life. There's nothing you can do to really prepare for it. And you go through all the fall and you go through academics and you go through the fall baseball and then you get into the spring and you're like, I'm gonna miss 40 something days of class.
Mm.
You're like, how can I possibly manage this?
Yeah.
And that's just the toughest thing. And like I was saying earlier, it's just experience. You have to experience it to learn. And once you experience it, you get to learn and you get to figure out what works good and what doesn't.
That's right. That's right. Uh, you're a humble guy, but I gotta ask because there's some cool things about being a stud baseball player. So I gotta ask this question. I just want to hear what you had to say. I know people know that when they look at you on campus, when you're walking through campus, they're like, "Who's that?" And I know they probably have been like, "Oh, that's Lanman." So what's it feel like walking through campus, knowing that I get it, dude. You got Abilene Christian's a good
Mhm.
baseball program. You guys are a bunch of studs, but for you specifically, what's it feel like walking through campus, knowing kind of the success you guys have as a group and then as an individual?
It goes both ways. It can be a selfish thing kind of sometimes. You're like holding your chest out. You're like, yeah, I earned this. I'm walking with my chest out. Everybody should know me here. But I mean, it's kind of cool just sitting in class and the teachers all the professors know,
Mm,
everybody walking around campus knows you're an athlete and you can nitpick it to be like that is a baseball player. And we like to say as a program, we're the flagship program of ACU baseball. And I mean, the coaches push us to strive to be the best athletic program academically and on the field. So, I mean, in class, just sitting there, it's kind of cool. Just hold your chest out and be like,
Yeah.
yeah, we're the best program sometimes.
Okay, so we were talking about goals earlier. Now I got to know, because I know you take your academic career very seriously. So I want to know this. I want to know, life after baseball, whatever. What are you planning? You're going to be in baseball a long time. I get it. I want to know what your goal is academically, what your goals
Mhm.
are academically, and I want to know what your ultimate goal is with baseball. So start with the academics. What's your goal?
Well, I'm going to get my business management degree, whether that's now or who knows when, but I will finish with a business management degree, and hopefully I might follow in my dad's footsteps. He owns some businesses, very good businessman. So I could either part of me wants to do that, but part of me wants to just make my own way and kind of just live the life of a businessman. Just start at the bottom and work your way up and just see where it goes from there. I mean, I don't have a specific area I want to go into, but
Sure.
eventually I would like to maybe own a business one day. So that's
Okay.
something to work up to.
And then this is where it changes. So all you guys listening, I'm just going to say it. If this guy's going to play professional baseball at a very, 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 very high level, if not the highest level, the big leagues. I'm going to say here, top 5 rounds, if not higher, it's going to happen. That, by the grace of God, and we're not jinxing it. So here's what I want to know: the difference between that plan and then this plan. Here, how focused this gets. Brett, what's your ultimate goal with baseball?
Be an MLB player. That's every kid's dream. Get drafted and work your way up to the MLB.
That is that's a focus, and
That is.
I'm so happy to hear you talking about routines and talking about how important it is just kind of have your day to day
Mhm.
in check. Is what being a part of a team, because let's just say it, the majority of kids out there listening to this, they're not going to most likely have the type of career that you have, you're going to have.
Mhm.
How important it is, like, what does it mean to you to be a part of the team, and how important is that? Like, what does it feel like to be a part of, these teams as you continue to get older and older?
I mean, that's probably the most important thing there is of baseball and of playing sports is your teammates. Because on the field, you're dependent on your teammates. Off the field, you're dependent on your teammates also. And those are friends you're gonna make for life. Those are people later in life you can depend on. Because the harsh reality is not everybody's gonna play Major League Baseball, if anybody. So those people and the friendships we make right now and the friendships I make at Abilene Christian, one day, 10 of those people on my team right now might be a business owner. And I might reach out to them one day and want to work for them or something like that. So the friendships I can make and we can make on your team, you never know where it can lead. And then also it also ties into the accountability part too.
Yeah,
As a team, your team's goal is to make it to the highest possible achievement you can make. And that means you got to push not only yourself, but your teammates also. And they might not like that all the time, but in reality, to achieve the ultimate goal that you want to achieve as a team, you're going to have to push each other and you're going to have to do some things that you might not want to do.
sure, sure. Is because I'm sitting from my spot daily. I get text
Mhm.
messages, DMs, whatever it is, from former teammates, and I mean the best friends in the world. And
Yep.
I think that's why that's one of the top reasons. If you're confused, listen, being a part of something higher, bigger than you
Mhm.
is something to me, and I'm assuming it's the same way for you.
Yes.
That it being a part of something bigger than you makes you feel more complete. Is that fair to say?
100%. 100%.
Okay. Um, I got a question because I think it's important to be retrospective and
Mhm,
to take a look back because I think you can learn a lot as you kind of introspective is the word I should say, but to be introspective of kind of everything you're going through. So
mhm.
for you to be introspective, I don't know if you've ever sat down and thought about this, but what like to your success up to this point? What have been the keys to your success up to this point? Why do you think you've been successful?
I think just the people I surround myself with,
Ooh,
and that's might not be my part. It's just the grace of God that I've been
wow.
surrounded by these amazing teammates and really amazing coaches and people like yourself that have helped me get to where I am here. And then, I mean, I'm just using my God-given abilities to go out and perform the best I can. And I mean, it's worked out so far, but I think it's not anything I can do other than I can work my hardest and try to strive to be the best I can. But I think it's the people that surround me. It's my teammates, it's the support staff, it's
Mm.
the coaches, it's the people that got me here that really have helped me be the man who I am and the success that I have is those guys.
Dude, just the fact that you're aware of that at this age, 19, I wasn't. I was an idiot. And the fact that you're aware of that, that's why, man, I have such a supreme confidence in where you're going. Because listen, no matter if Brett Landman plays in the big leagues or not, I would guess that he will. But even if he doesn't, this guy's going to be successful in whatever he chooses to do. And that's the thing is like when you're introspective and you're learning and you're continuing to grow, um, the ability to slow down and soak it all in and learn and adjust and fail. So I want to ask you about
Mhm.
failure. Like how important is failure in your ascent? I mean, do you pay attention to it? Like what role does failure play in your growth as a player?
It's more important than you think. Actually, we at Abilene Christian we keep on our pitching chart we keep a thing called positive response chart, and it's not about the failures that you do. You're going to give up as a pitcher. You're going to give up a hit. You're going to
Mhm.
walk someone. You're going to hit someone. You're going to give up a home run. It's not about those. It's about how you can respond to it. And if you can get the next guy out, or if you're going to let it linger in your head and let everybody know that that rattled you. And so we keep a chart that say I give up a hit. If I get the next guy out, it's a positive response. If I
Love it.
don't, it's a negative response. And then it keeps building.
Love it.
And I mean, that's just it might lead to success, it might not, but it's just a way to not gauge failures, but gauge how you respond to failures. Because
Ooh.
that's what ultimately matters. It's not about everybody's going to fail. There's no one on this earth right now that is not going to fail at something. It's what you can learn from the failures and how you can respond to them.
Wow. Ooh, I like that. That's gold. That's going up on the social media stuff. Um, ha- so baseball can be really, really tough, man. It's
Mhm.
taxing on you
Yes.
mentally. Okay. Um, how do you grade your success as a baseball player? Is it all in numbers? Is it what my ERA? Is it what my accomplishments are? I know that's probably not the answer. So how do you keep such a calm mind, a calm heart? How do you grade like how does Brett Landman grade himself and his successes?
I like to our coaches. It's not even me. I'm not going to give myself any credit for this, but our coaches like to say, "Be process oriented, not
Yeah.
goal oriented." So if you are solely focused on your stats and your achievements, like if I was only focused on my ERA last season, it's not going to be it. I'm not going to have another season like that. And if I'm
Mm.
only focused on, hey, I'm freshman All American, I'm all this stuff, I'm definitely not going to do that again. And I'm just going to have a fallback year. But the coaches preach to be process oriented, go in every day and you got to work on something specific every day. And day by day, you'll build up and eventually you'll look back and be like, yeah, I did that. I have a low ERA because of this, but you're not going to see them. You're not going to see these things in every day. The first start of the season, you might give up 4 runs and have a 6 ERA. But then by the end of the year, you might look back and you're like, I finished with a 1.5 ERA or something like that. Because you got to be process oriented. You got to come into work every day, and you got to work on something specific to get better for the next start. And then after that, you flush it and you go on to the next start. You just got to move on every day, no matter what happened in the past.
I love it, man. Talking with Brett Lanman of Abilene Christian, 2024 WAC Pitcher of the Year, Freshman of the Year, second team All-American. Brett Lanman, lefty pitcher, lefty just stud. Brett, when I talk to younger pitchers and when we talk pitching philosophy, when we're talking pitching philosophy, the 3 things that I really want them to hone in on is 1, throw strike 1, first pitch strike, 2, pitch to contact, and 3, on or out within 3. Get that guy out of the batter's box within 3. So those are my kind of general philosophies. I'd be curious what your philosophies on. Do you have like a mentality when you're up there? Does it change hitter to hitter, or is it like do you have an overall theme that you think that you try to implement with every hitter?
It's really not. It's not much different than what you said. I mean, those are like the 3 basic things you always want to preach into everybody. And I mean, for me, just knowing that my strikeout pitch is my fastball. So it's more of how do I set up this count while also throwing strikes to get to 0-2 and still haven't thrown my fastball.
Holy cow.
So that's just it's a game. It's the game within a game. It's, can I have 3 or 4 pitches or however many pitches you have? Can I throw all of them for strikes consistently? And can I punch the guy out in 1 or 2 pitches when you get to 0-2?
Man, I love it. I love it. You mentioned your dad earlier. You're sitting in Mr. Lanman, Aaron Lanman. What a great dude. I just want to say to him, one of the best guys that I've talked with. I want to talk about your influences, man, because it's going to be clear to everybody that listens to this or watches this that you're extremely humble and you come from a good family. Give me some influences, some guys, some people that have made some big impacts in your life.
I mean, my dad's obviously, my family is the biggest one. I mean, I literally wouldn't be here without their impact and their influence on me. Obviously, I have a scholarship, but I am not paying for the rest of the tuition by myself. So
wow,
I literally wouldn't be here without them. I have been fortunate enough to been provided with things and been provided with them from them. And I get lessons. I get all these things. I mean, obviously you helped me be where I am today. I wouldn't have that without them. And then obviously God, I mean, he gives everything. He provides everything for me. He provided everything for them to give to me. Wow. And I mean, it's awesome.
I want to talk specifically a little bit about, we're talking with Brett Lanman here about 10 more minutes here, Brett. Talking with Brett Lanman from Abilene Christian today. Are there any moments in your career so far that stand out that you're like, wow, that was a really cool moment as a college baseball player? Does anything come to mind?
I mean, I think there's one that comes to mind, and it wasn't even me. It was a Sunday, the last conference weekend of the year, and there was a 3-way tie for second place in the WAC, and we had to delay the game a bit from rain. So it's a Sunday. I think we started at 1. So there's a thing that we're playing Seattle University, so okay, they have to get on a flight.
Yep.
So there is a time stoppage, and everybody knew it. No one thought we would have gotten there. Well, in the 8th inning, bottom of the 8th inning, we're down by 1. We fortunately hit a double, and we had no idea. we're like, oh, okay, we're winning by 1 right now. Well, our coach starts calling timeouts
Oh,
and the
geez.
game just ends. And we're like, what just happened? And so we clinched second place and got a walk-off win off of a time limit.
Oh, no.
And
Oh,
that's just like, I don't that's the best moment that I've had. I don't know if anything might top that one.
that's fun, dude. I like that. I like hearing that a lot. With baseball forward, Brett, what we're doing here, baseball forward, the MO of baseball forward is elevating the next generation. I
Mhm.
feel like it's so important to give back. I know you feel the same way.
Definitely.
So if you're to the high school players out there listening right now,
Yes.
and let's be specific to baseball. For the
Mhm.
high school baseball players out there wanting to be in your position someday, what advice do you have for them? Um, what advice do you have for baseball, just high school baseball players?
Well, high school is it's a very stressful time because if you obviously most kids in high school have the dream of playing college baseball, mostly D1 baseball.
Yep.
So first I would just say don't stress. I mean, everybody's heard that if you're a good player, someone will find you. And I truly think that's the truth. If you are good enough, someone somewhere
That's right.
will find you. So just don't stress about all this recruiting thing and all this. God has a plan and it will
Mm,
happen. And secondly, I would just say stick to routines. We've talked a lot about routines today. And I mean, just if you establish them now, then when you get into college, it's like no change. You're like, I have all these routines in place. I know what I'm doing. I'm a good time manager, and you can just hop in and be a pro. And then it just moves on from there. And I think those are the two main things I have.
dude, I love that. And um, I know this about you. Your preparation is second to none. And I think if any of you high school players out there were to watch how Brett Lanman goes about his business day to day, you'd see the preparation. Success is no mistake. Like success is not a mistake. It's not.
Mhm.
And it's about that preparation and how seriously you take it.
It
Last
is.
question. Last question I have for you, Brett. Um, what are you most excited about going into your sophomore season? I mean, you guys are going to fire this up here in about a month.
Oh yeah.
What are you most excited about, man?
Just playing baseball. I mean,
Yeah.
this is the game I love. This is the team that just we get to go out and play 56 games, and we're playing Big 10 opponents, we're playing Big 12 opponents. Like, I mean, it's all fun. We get to go and we get to miss school and just go play
Uh,
baseball. And I mean, there's nothing more fun than that. I mean, that's the most exciting part.
is it are you the bus rides, the plane trips? Hey, I'm curious. Do you guys like
Yes.
when you look at your schedule for the spring?
Mm.
What weekends stand out to you? Are you like, ooh, I can't wait for that weekend?
Opening conference weekend against GCU.
Ooh, yeah.
So we are building a new stadium at Abilene Christian. They are targeting that opening conference weekend is gonna be like the grand opening for the stadium. So, I mean, obviously, they got first place in the WAC last year, we got second place, so it's a good 2 really good teams pairing it up for the first weekend, and it's grand opening of our brand new stadium. I mean, it doesn't get more exciting than that.
Heck yeah, man. Well, Brett, before I take us out, I want any final words, man. Any final words you have for the baseball forward audience before I take us out?
Um, I mean, just like you were saying earlier, preparation, success leaves clues. Just
Mhm.
prepare the pre your preparation is 90% of it. You gotta prepare before you actually do it. You practice you play like you practice, and if you practice hard, you're gonna play hard. And then last thing I have is, like I was saying earlier, everybody is gonna fail. It's just how you respond to it. It's how fast you can move on. You just have to don't take it by heart. You know, it's not a personal thing. It's not, oh, I suck. I gave up a hit,
Mm.
blah, 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 all this. It's okay. That guy got a hit off me. He's not going to get so lucky next time. I'm going to get this next guy out and we're going to go back to the dugout.
I'm proud of you, man. It has been a blast watching you from afar. You have a huge audience, people, the support, man. It's awesome, awesome to watch what you're doing. I want to say thanks again to Brett Lanman for joining us on the show, and thank you for listening to this episode of the Baseball Forward podcast. I'm your host, Ross Hawley, and I will see you next time.